What's up, guys? Here with you at FC Wonder Kid, episode 122 here with my guy, Brenton. How are you?
I'm tired. Vacation is over here. The summer is over here. And nothing better than a very, very busy international slate of games. And I believe the Ballon d'Or nominees were actually announced, and the Kopa Trophy, which I know us here at FC Wonder Kid are most excited about. But we've got a lot to talk about today. A lot of underperforming national teams, a lot of overperforming national teams, and I don't know. I think we're gonna have enough time. We're shooting for what, 4 hours of a podcast today?
We'll talk everything in an hour. Don't scare the viewers, people. But if you're listening to our weekly podcast and you love to listen to it, don't forget every Monday at 6 o'clock Portuguese time, it's out. And like this video to say to us that you are enjoying our Monday show. But first big topic, You said we're going to talk about Ballon d'Or too. But our first big topic is England national team has limited potential if Gareth Southgate is coaching. It's clear as day. Harry Maguire has more minutes played for England than for Manchester United. I see some pundits saying Lewis Dunk doesn't deserve to play. What? Like, how would he deserve to play with how he's playing at Brighton? And I would even go to the stretch to say Maguire is playing, and I know he never let England down, but having low minutes or no minutes at Man United and putting a Levi Colville that is the future. That is the future of England. I would 100% give more minutes to Levi Colville than to Harry Maguire. Look what happens with Portugal with Antonio Silva. We're trusting the youth because it's going to give us big-time results. Levi Colville has that world-class potential. So that is my first point. I got to talk about England. 1-1?
I understand, and you got to give credit to Ukraine on a relatively decent, I'd say decent defensive performance because their attack was not necessarily the best. But yeah, when it comes down to it, I generally agree with you. I agree with you in this Southgate point, but to be honest, if underperformance or if a limited performance is a, Euro final and a World Cup semifinal, then I do feel Gareth Southgate maybe deserves a little benefit of the doubt here. But to rip my own point apart, Alex, to rip it apart into shreds, I do have to mention that, yes, Southgate taking out Jude Bellingham instead of taking out Jordan Henderson. I did not understand that at all. Unless you're going to tell me right now that it was injury-based, it was precautionary, then okay, I'll drop my case. But him taking out Jude Bellingham made no sense whatsoever to me while leaving a guy like Jordan Henderson in late in that game. And Pickford didn't exactly cover himself in glory in this particular game either. But I just don't know how much of that traces itself back to Southgate and his limitations. But I'm like 50-50 in the camp with you that they're definitely limited from here on out. But again, Euro final, World Cup semifinal. So you're telling me that if it wasn't Gareth Southgate and it was somebody else, they would have won that Euros and they would have gotten to the final at least.
I think if it was somebody else right now, they would beat Ukraine right now with the team that they have. That's what I think right now. Because the expectations are, if Gareth Southgate is playing with the team that he played, having Henderson playing more minutes than did Jude Bellingham, having a James Maddison at left winger, I guarantee you people at home, England ain't gonna win the Euros in Germany, okay? It's not gonna happen, and that's the reasoning. That's what irritates me about Southgate. Like, with the picks that Southgate did, I think Gareth Southgate should have started against Ukraine with Harry Kane, with Rashford, with James Maddison, with Saka, with Rice, and with Jude Bellingham, with the players he selected. Makes no sense to me, Jordan Henderson starting right now for England. That isn't the future, nor should be the president of England right now. I respect Henderson. I don't think he should not be called up, but should not start, in my point of view. And, Breton, tell me one national team right now with more potential and with more talent than England. Non-existent, right?
I can't. I can't. I mean, France is close, but I can't.
So that's what Gareth Southgate has to work with. Excellence.
Yeah.
And he has to be at least a contender for the World Cup and the Euros next year. That's what I'm saying. It frustrates me to see a player like Bukayo Saka that wins 2 seasons in a row, the best English player of the season, okay? 2 seasons in a row. That is mad. And to see him being coached by Southgate at an international level. And then you see, without Arsenal, with Arteta, a Ben White that is not even called up with Southgate, Ben White. No, don't take me wrong. We see Southgate now calling up Tomori, Lewis Dunk, Mark Gahey, things that in the past
Calvin Phillips
didn't happen. But I'm not going to defend the Calvin Phillips though this season at least. But
yeah,
there is a lot of criticism and deserved criticism in my point of view. I'd even go to the stretch of you see Ancelotti, he gets Jude Bellingham. You see Southgate with Jude Bellingham. Completely different. Very limited. And Jude Bellingham played well in the World Cup. But we see now at Real the level that he can go with. So this makes me think Foden, Saka, Kane right now.
Yep.
The level that they could go with a world-class manager. Not something that we can see with Southgate. So this is I had to talk about this England talk, but tell us down below what do you think about England, okay? Limited potential with Southgate, or am I overreacting? Okay, and they're gonna be a contender in the Euros, no doubt. Tell us in the comment section. We want to know.
Yes, please do. But it's one thing to bring up an issue. It's another thing to bring up a solution. And 9 months out, right, or 10 months out to Euro 2024 in Germany, would you even have the gall to replace a Gareth Southgate? Probably not. We're not even talking about that. It's not even necessarily on the record. But there has clearly been a national team that has felt the desperation take hold, right? And have to make that switch. And I'm talking about none other than who?
Germany, mate.
Yeah.
That lose 4-1 to Japan, and you're completely right, Bretson. Germany, without a doubt, with Hansi Flick right now, with the team choices that he does, Schlotterbeck at left back, Schula starting, they would 100% not compete to win the Euro 2024 that they are hosting. That would be embarrassing. Yes. They lost to Japan 2-1 in the World Cup with a remontada. And now we say Japan deservedly beat Germany 4-1 in their home soil. They cannot risk it to have another performance like they did in the World Cup now in the Euros at home. So that's why it's got to be.
And listen, the fact that it didn't happen sooner is actually surprising, because 4-1 to Japan with 2 of the goals coming in the 90th minute and beyond, fine. That's whatever. But this is not a one-time thing. Okay, Hansi Flick had lost his last 3 games in charge. 4 of their last 5 matches, and he's won only 2 in their last 10, dating back to the beginning of the World Cup, which opened with that loss to, you guessed it, Japan. So the fact that this has not happened is more a testament sooner, meaning Hansi Flick getting let go. The fact that it didn't happen sooner is a testament to how Germany generally is used to what? Long tenures of their managers, right? I think they have one of the fewest amount of managers in a century-long history. I think they've only had, Yogi Love. I mean, hell, they might even bring him back if you're talking about 9 months. Probably not going to happen. But listen, it's another thing where you've got this future of Florian Wirtz. You've got this future of Jamal Musiala, of Nico Schlotterbeck. You've got a relatively good core that on paper you feel like should be doing well. And Hansi Flick, though he could do it with Bayern, could not do it with Germany. And they looked despondent. They looked terrible for the majority of the game. A guy, you mentioned it with England. So I'll draw the same parallel with Germany. A Gundogan looks insanely different with Germany than how he looks with Barca, and obviously previous to this with Manchester City.
Ter Stegen looks one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper in the world at Barcelona. But at Germany, he looks lost. No confidence with the setup in front of him. I'm not saying that Germany has scrubs at defense, but how are they set up? Schule starting? No. Schlotterbeck and Rudiger, no doubt, should be the duo starting. Watch Dortmund play. Even Emre Can, I'm not saying, I think Emre Can, look, he's a quality leader. He's a good midfielder. But if you have Kimmich, Gundogan, don't play Kimmich at right back. Simple things that you expect with excellence. So I'm going to repeat, I really believe Euros 2024, Germany knows they have to have a different team. And a different team, it was with a manager like Julian Nagelsmann. That, look, if Nagelsmann makes the choice to go and coach Germany, it's a bold choice in his career. He's young, and he could go to a Champions League contending team with the work he's done previously at Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So it's a risk. But I would like to see risks and bold choices, Bretson. Come on, that would be unbelievable.
I'm with you. I'm with you, but you want to know what would be bolder than hiring a German-born coach, because Germany tends to hire German-born coaches. What would be bolder? Is it time potentially to think about going foreign with their coaching hires? Now, I've got nobody in mind, unless you're going to somehow bring, I don't know, Dunga back, or bring a Brazilian over and try that out for 9 months. I think I'll be honest. I think what's going to happen here, Alex, is they're going to give Rudi Voller the reins. They're going to let the assistant coach maybe take it through, and I think that's probably the more prudent way to go about things. And Germany is generally known for prudence, at least ever since this rebuild. But this rebuild is flagging. This is not a Germany that you look at and you say, oh my gosh, I'm blinded by the potential. Right? Yes, you got Wirtz, you've got Musiala, but we can sit there and we can talk and poke holes in the rest of their developmental structure right now, which we are not used to talking about these days. When you talk about Bundesliga stars, you're generally talking about what? Foreign-born stars in the Bundesliga.
Right now, yes.
So right now, exactly.
And
so
even Musiala was developed in England.
You're right.
At Chelsea.
You're absolutely right.
So even with that.
And so, you're probably not going to reinstall Yogi Low. You're probably Nagelsmann is somebody maybe for after the Euros. I don't know. Maybe they're bold and they do that. But I just feel like there's only been, I think, like 11 coaches in 100-year plus history of the German national team. Obviously, it's since been reunified and all of that stuff. So it is just unbelievable to me that Hansi Flick, who we all thought was just a really good hire for them, could not get it done. I mean, his tenure is worse than Jurgen Klinsmann's, and that's saying something. Okay, so it really is interesting to me. But the last time, But they're almost in a very similar position to what happened in 2006, right? When they last hosted the World Cup. Now they're going to host a Euros next year. They're almost in a similar position where it almost feels like a big dramatic rebuild of Germany. And it's so weird to hear that, considering how many names you and I have been looking at and dropping on this podcast, and before that on Instagram, for years and years and years, of German internationals or youth internationals that just have not worked out.
No,
so
they still have a good
team.
But they have Rudiger, Kimmich, Gundogan, players that will, I think, be highlights and leaders in the Euros. But I completely agree. It's interesting how it has the same feel in 2006 to now to 2024 with Germany. But that rebuild worked out quite well with a Thomas Müller too. And you said it, mate. Wirtz, Florian Wirtz, Jamal Musiala, these two are the future of Germany. And if Germany goes bold in the Euros, I'm 100% sure these two will be amongst the top 3 players of the team. I'm saying with that responsibility, because Gundogan and Rudiger, yes, they're brilliant, but that extra brilliance of youth, now's the time they can show up to the world. Wirtz and Musiala. I really think that could be the case.
No, I agree with you. And I think if anyone's going to get it right again, it will be Germany. And who knows, maybe they can turn it around in 9 months. They'll have the 12th man behind them, or the country behind them. But listen, how much of this game was Germany playing uninspired, and how much of it was Japan just playing great, phenomenally entertaining football? And I just have to say it right now. I honestly do think that Japan, more than any other team in Asia, East Asia, anywhere, right, in that AFC, I believe that Japan has what it takes to sustainably become a top 10 team on the world stage moving forward. I mean, just look at that wing right now between Takefusa Kubo, who is lighting up La Liga, delivers 2 assists, or was it 2 goals? No,
Two assists. Yeah,
he
two
delivers two
assists
assists
in 15
in
minutes.
less than 20 minutes off the bench, right? And you've got Matoma on the other side, right? You've also got really underrated players that are just now getting the love that they deserve in Daichi Kamada and Wataru Endo, right? Who just signed for Liverpool. And you throw in Feyenoord's Ayase Ueda. You throw in Morita at Sporting, who I got to see in person. Nakamura, you've got Ito, you've got Doan. There is just enough firepower here that I'm going to say it right now. I think Japan clearly is the Asian favorite to go the farthest in the 2026 World Cup. And before then, I think they're at the beginning stages of their developmental, maybe even a golden generation in the future. So I just love the way they played, and they deserve a lot of credit for beating up on Germany not once, but a second time.
True. It's true. Project Blue Lock is happening in real life. And Takefusa Kubo, La Masia formed. Okay, Real Madrid have 50% of his pass. Okay, so let's see what happens with him. But Takefusa Kubo, in his last 7 games, he's got 4 goals, 5 assists, and against Germany, 15 minutes, 2 assists. No doubt in my mind, the creativity of this player is off the charts, and I agree with you. The future of Japan is in full display with Morita, with Hito, great player from Stade Reims too, Ueda, Kamada. Kamada was snatched up, okay? Elite free agent this summer. And the wings with Mitoma and Kubo are going to be one of the best in the world in the international level with Japan.
Brilliant.
That is fact. And Tomayasu is gaining confidence back, okay? Arsenal fans should be happy seeing Tomayasu playing how he is at Japan. And Hendo was a great buy for Liverpool for 15 million, and he's the captain of Japan of this team. So it's very, very interesting points. And yes, Japan are worthy of this shout out. And Germany, let's wait and see what they are gonna do in the international level. It's hard, mate. It's hard, but a team that changed their manager. Okay, Ancelotti is not the manager of Brazil, but we have an interim manager. At least right now, he's seen as one. Fernando Diniz, the manager of Fluminense and the Brazilian national team. I'm very happy, mate, because I see a Brazilian national team that finally calls up Caio Henrique and Wanderson, okay, baller fullbacks of AS Monaco. They didn't start, and I think Caio Henrique will start ahead of Renan Lodi in the near future, but seeing them called up is progress in my point of view, and Danilo or Wanderson at the right, that is good. That is progress, and Marquinhos and Gabriel Magalhães starting. That is fantastic news. I like this Brazilian national team with Fernandinho. How are you feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling okay, but come on, we're FC Wonder Kid for a reason, and that average age of 28 is how I'm feeling. Makes me feel old, but no, I understand. Caio Henrique, I mean, Ibanez, seeing him get the run of form, or get the run of it. Mateus Cunha, even barely playing or barely doing well for Wolves, still getting a call up. So I just think that
striker's a problem. I agree.
They have a lot more potential. Clearly, it's weird to say this because they beat up at home on Bolivia as expected, but they clearly have the most potential, probably untapped potential heading into the 2026 World Cup. And a lot of it, I was doing a little research on this because we're going to talk about Neymar in a second. A little research on this, and guess how many goals there are between Rodrigo, Vinicius, and Gabriel Martinelli, seemingly the future of the wingers in Brazil. Guess how many goals?
Let's say maybe 8.
Yeah, no, you're actually up. Price is Right rules, you'd be actually kicked out here. You're over. It's 7. And I think that's even after Rodrigo's brace against Bolivia. And that shocked me to no end, because you're talking now about a Neymar doing it since he was 18 years old with 79 goals, surpassing the legendary Pele. And no, I don't think Neymar is necessarily better than Pele, but he has been scoring close to 8-9 goals a year, if not more than that. And he's been doing it with regularity since he debuted against the United States at the Meadowlands when he was 18 years old. And we're now talking about Rodrigo. We're talking about Vinicius, 22, 21 years old. We're talking about Martinelli, just turned 22 years old, having not even 10% of that just yet. Now, that's probably more coaching than it is and how they use them in a tactical setup than it is anything else. Yeah, not yet. But it's shocking to me because do I think that they're like a reincarnate of Neymar? No, I don't. But I did think that they'd have a much bigger impact so far on the Brazilian national team than they have. And then you come to the curious case of Richarlison, who I think is at the nadir, the bottom of his confidence levels. I don't think you can get any further below. Getting substituted off, hasn't had a goal since who knows when. Crying on the bench, and it's tough to see. So, yeah, I feel like there's so much more this Brazilian team can do, and yet they won 5-1.
But you said it. I'm going to go with the first thing with striker. I believe striker is the biggest problem of Brazil. Fullbacks will be an issue long term, but striker right now is the biggest problem of the Brazilian national team. Richarlison, look, he's in poor form right now. Matheus Cunha coming off the bench. What? They are hoping Vitor Roque can deliver short-term for Barca and Hendrik, okay, when he goes to Real Madrid. That is the future they have to rely upon. And players like Rodrigo, Neymar, those are the players that they have to rely on goals in the World Cup short form. But you talked about Neymar. 13 years playing for the Brazilian national team. He's devoted, and he's one of the most talented players I've ever seen with my eyes playing football. To see Neymar, all the potential, to now have 79 goals, I can say it. People still would expect him to have a better career. But look, he had an elite career. Neymar, if you ask Neymar, would he have liked to win a Ballon d'Or in his career? Of course he'll say yes. But if you ask him too, does he think that he did his best to get that? He'll say yes too. And he lived in an era of Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. And Neymar, yes, is going to be the all-time leading goal scorer of Brazil. And he's going to have, I think, a final shot in the next World Cup. Just like Cristiano Ronaldo too. Both, okay? I think we'll retire after that year. But 2026 will be a glorious year for football, at least internationally, with Neymar having this decisive moment too. But Neymar currently is 9th. Okay, in the top goal scorers internationally. The top 3 is Cristiano Ronaldo with 123 goals, Aldair with 109 goals, and Lionel Messi with 104 goals for Argentina. Lionel Messi, too, is the number 1 top goal scorer in South American international history, and now Neymar is second, too. So there's a lot to go with that. And you mentioned the future, though, Breton, and I completely agree with you. Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo, Hendrik, Vitor Roque, and Martinelli are the biggest names leading up to the World Cup in 2026. And I think Fernando Diniz or Ancelotti, they're going to have to fix the striker problem. And when they do, Brazil will be, again, amongst the top 2 best national teams in the world because of the talent. Once again, how could we talk? Like even Moscardo, I want to say special shout out to Moscardo that I believe is the future to replace Casemiro. I like André. I love André, okay, that he's called up for the Brazilian national team, but pay special attention to this TDM of Corinthians with elite passing, defensive duels one-on-one. He's unreal in Barca. Come on. I see that use. Just go and get him. Deku knows.
Well, watch out. Todd Bowley is already contacted. I'm sure. I'm sure of it. Come on. I mean, they've already got Andre Santos, they've got Angelo, and they've got David Washington. But you think Chelsea is not going to collect another Brazilian wonder kid in hope that this kid who does have you've heard it from me. This is, I guess, me going bold, but Gabriel Moscardo has higher potential than Casemiro.
Whoa, Casemiro was the best CDM for years in football.
Nope, I understand, and it's young, and it's a little bit easy to say because he's that young, but based on how good he is right now, at 18 years old or having just turned 18 years old, Moscardo, he has, believe it or not, I think he's got more tools. It's just Of course, it's the next move. It's where he goes.
He's
It's
more
whether or not he
Busquets-like
plays.
than
It's all that good
Casemiro.
stuff.
It's true. He's more
Yes.
he's more
Yeah,
he
yeah,
plays
yeah.
like Busquets more than he plays like Casemiro, which is an interesting
Yeah.
thing with Brazil.
But listen, like Endrick, you brought up Endrick, okay? Endrick is one that Endrick and Vitor Roca are should say two that I think have more of a potential to fill the vacuum that Neymar, when he does inevitably at some point after the 2026 World Cup step away from the Brazilian national team, they have the potential to fill that goal scoring vacuum, right? Endrick has not necessarily been scoring just yet, right? And he's approaching that age that Neymar started scoring. I mean, Neymar had 12 goals in his first 22 caps for the Brazilian national team. Endrick has had a tough time scoring with regularity. That's not what makes him so good right now for Palmeiras. It's literally the fact that he fights for every ball as if it's the last ball. He's been that every defense wants to literally murder the kid when he's on the field, right? We've seen it. They literally go in. Just look up. I'm sure there's compilations out there of Endrick getting destroyed by defenders. I mean, just nasty 1990s football tackles on the kid. And he is going to be a kid that once he gets that scoring touch, once he, gets that run of form, he will not stop. Vitor Roca, in a different kind of viewpoint, he is currently on a scoring run. I mean, 28 goal involvements in 41 appearances. He's just only gotten one cap for the Brazilian national team, and he's 18 years old now. So it's that next move to Barcelona. He's the one following the track. It's going to be one of those two guys that definitely fills in the vacuum for me when Neymar does finally hang up his boots post 2026, but that's a long ways away.
And even
a lot can
Marcos
happen.
Leonardo, William Estevão, there's a lot of talent coming from Brazil, as you'd expect. Okay, this is nothing new. But people, let us know down below, what do you think of the Brazilian national team in the future with what's coming, and how would you play now with Fernando Diniz? That is a new team in formation right now. But this is FC Wonder Kid. I'm Alex. Alex being Portuguese, I'd like to have a bit of a focus with the Portuguese national team talk. And look, I have all praise with Roberto Martinez in the start of this era of Roberto Martinez with Portugal. We have 5 games, 5 wins. We have 15 goals scored and 5 clean sheets. Roberto Martinez still hasn't suffered 1 goal, and I like to see in the last game Ruben Dias and Antonio Silva being the duo at the back. These two are the future of Portugal, and they're made in Seychelles, both of them. I guarantee you, I'm so hyped and high expectations to know the next 10 years of Portugal. I know Antonio Silva and Ruben Dias are going to be in my defense. And then you have Gonçalo Inácio in the pipeline. You have other players that I am very excited. But Portugal, Antonio Silva, Diogo Costa, Ruben Dias, Nuno Mendes coming up, Vitinha that finally started in the last game. We have a lot of options, and we are contenders for the next Euros playing like this. And I know Roberto Martinez with Belgium had a lot of potential, and he never won the Euros. But right now, Ronaldo is on a mission. And Cristiano Ronaldo, if we win the Euros with him, that would be an elite way of saying I am one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, Cristiano Ronaldo, with 2 Euros in my backing. That look, I gotta say, Breton, you agree with me that we're contenders.
Yeah, I'd agree with you that you're contenders. I disagree with you that it will be with Cristiano Ronaldo at striker.
Why? I think Ronaldo's playing really good football right now.
I think Gonçalo Ramos should be the one getting these run of games. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't necessarily know why it's even that crazy of an idea to think that. I think there was even one time that you thought that too. I do. I don't think Cristiano Ronaldo has been playing his best football for Portugal. He might be playing it for Al Nassr, scoring hat tricks left and right, some of them in friendly tournaments. But I don't necessarily think that Cristiano Ronaldo, at his current age and in his current form, is the person that's going to win the Euros in Germany next year, 9 months from now. I think this should be a run of form with Gonçalo Ramos, especially with this group. The hardest fixture that you've had is Slovakia, and you just beat them. right? And I'd argue that the second hardest is Luxembourg, and you guys are the only ones that have actually
Bosnia.
figured out how to beat Luxembourg that well. Shout out to Luxembourg being phenomenal in this
Hmm.
group, by the way. But Portugal, in and of itself, needs to be moving away from Ronaldo if they want to get to the best version of themselves. We're not talking about 28-year-old Ronaldo anymore, okay? So I don't say that out of disrespect, but I know that there's got to be a school of people out there that are also obviously Portuguese that feel the exact same way. I mean, your most important player is Bruno Fernandes, right?
Our most informed, I
Um,
agree with you right now. Bruno Fernandes,
yeah.
playing for Portugal, he's the most informed player of our national team in the last year. The Portuguese Magnifico. Look at this record for Man United: 189 games, 65 goals, 50 assists, and for Portugal, he's got 58 games, 16 goals, and 13
Love it.
assists. And I fully believe in the Euros, he's gonna go bold too. But you're talking about Ronaldo and Gonçalo
Yep.
Ramos, and look, right now in form, I don't mind seeing Ronaldo starting against Slovakia. I don't think he played badly against Slovakia too. And look, it's good news for you, I think, with this one. Gonçalo Ramos is going to start definitely the next game because Portugal, Cristiano Ronaldo is suspended of 3 yellow cards, okay? And yet, even being suspended, Cristiano Ronaldo went to the training session, and as he does, he acts like a leader. I fully believe if Portugal wins the Euros in 2024, I disagree, Breton, with you. I fully believe it's with Cristiano Ronaldo in the team. Not starting maybe, but definitely in the team. He's inspired this generation of Portugal. We are where we are because of Cristiano Ronaldo in my eyes. And with Roberto Martinez, he's playing not the best football, but much better football than with Fernando Santos, in my opinion.
Yep.
I really think that. Because yes, like the way he conducts himself still, it's like a
Sure.
champion. And I see the
course.
youth that we have. I see João Felix, João Cancelo, that they too had 0 minutes, but they got the call up. And I don't disagree that they should have been called, but they have the trust of the manager. And I think Ronaldo has deserved the trust of the manager for what he's done for our national team, being the captain at 24-2 when he was. And this generation is learning from him right now.
Well, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I do agree, obviously, with the leadership qualities. Obviously, been there, done that. And he's got 5 goals in qualifying. But again, in a relatively easy group that you guys should be kicking the crap out of these teams,
5
which you
clean sheets.
are. And you have, and that's exactly right. And I agree with you. You started by mentioning just plaudits that are needed for the future center back pairing or the present center back pairing of Ruben Diaz and Antonio Silva, and the depth there, because that is going to be probably reason number 1 why Portugal wins the Euros in 2022 next season. Reason number 2, I think it needs to be Gonçalo Ramos in front of Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo still giving those leadership quality minutes off of the bench and getting starts here and there is number 2. And number 3 is Roberto Martinez needs to figure out how to unlock for Portugal the best of Rafa Leão. I mean, he's the X factor for you guys. He is the X factor for you in Germany next summer. And I don't think he has played his best yet for the Portuguese national team. And I ask you, do you think that there's a possibility that he can bring that Serie A, that Scudetto winning form 2 seasons ago to the Portuguese national team, or do you feel like the setup is just not there for him?
That's an excellent question, because it shouldn't be Bruno Fernandes, the best player of the Portuguese national team. It should be Rafael Leão, in my point of view. I agree. He has the most potential and the most expectations too. I think in order to Rafael Leão to be his best, I think he needs Nuno Mendes behind him. First things first.
Okay.
And I was quite surprised to see Roberto Martinez playing at 4 at the back. I think it benefits more Rafa Leão and Vitinha too, this change of formation. So I like how you're pointing that out. And I think seeing this change of formation happening now before the Euros, it shows that we have more to our locker. And we're working a lot in trainings to have this in our locker room, with having a 4-3-3 or can snatch in and then having the 5 at the back. But one thing stays, João Palhinha. João Palhinha for the Portuguese national team is locked in starting. Bruno Fernandes, João Palhinha, those two are definitely going to start. And that is our future in midfield, okay?
But Alex, who's your third? Who's your third?
I'd say Vitinha.
You say Vitinha? I think you know what I might be getting at here. Do you still hold out? Yeah, do you still hold out that he should be in the Euro squad next summer?
Look, Mateus Nunes wasn't called up to this selection, okay? So we are stacked with what we have right now. But look, my prediction is that I fully believe João Neves will make himself to be in that national team in the Euros, okay, with how he's going to play for Benfica. Have I seen it?
Yeah.
No. Will I see it, or do I believe that I will see it? I believe João Neves will go bold. So it's a prediction for the people at home, but tell me if you agree, and don't forget to like this video for more Portugal content and Cristiano Ronaldo debates here, because you guys deserve the best community. Well, wait, but we talk about Portugal, but there are other teams, national teams that went bold. And the future of Spain the future of Spain depends on the future of Barcelona. Because when Barcelona is strong, for sure, Spain is strong. And we see Pedri, Gavi, Balde, and now Lamine Yamal, the youngest to play for Spain, and now to score too. Thank you, Xavi, for trusting the youth. And Lamine Yamal, don't forget, is the youngest to play for Barca in their history too. So big ups to Xavi.
And I think that the fact that the 4 of the 5 youngest players ever to play for Spain, right, or youngest when they debuted, being Barca products, right? I think that speaks volumes. I mean, you're talking about Lamine Yamal, you're talking about Gavi, you're talking about Ansu Fati, and you're talking about Bojan Krkic, who I know is the lost wonder kid, but he was developed at La Masia too, and my goodness, Lamine Yamal is now also the 3rd youngest player ever to score for a European nation, and the 2 youngest, younger than him, they were from the 1890s and the early 1900s. So the fact that they're even involved in this type of, age counting makes no sense. And yes, the caveat there, I believe, is well, no. I mean, he's the youngest player ever to play for a European nation. Here, let's rephrase it. Lamine Yamal is the youngest player to play for a European nation in over 115 years.
Oh, that's a
there
mad
you go.
One. That's a mad one.
That's a better framing of it. Yeah, it's pretty.
Scored 16 years
to score.
and 57 days.
Score.
That is mad. Yeah. Okay, it's someone so young. Lamine Yamal in 2025 will be turning 18. Will be turning 18. That's the expectations. And a future of Barca with Lamine Yamal, I was going to say Ferran Torres, but boy, oh boy, Pedri, Gavi, and Balde, that is the hope. Yeah. What am I saying? But Ferran could go bold. We never know. Luis de la Fuente could be cooking something. But yes, I said the name of Xavi. Xavi will be extending with Barca until 2025. And as long as Xavi is the coach of Barca, Spain will be thriving, okay? At least for the present and future, in my point of view. But you have other players that I think, not Barca related right now in their development, like Dani Olmo. Okay, he was Barca Academy, but there's a lot of good players in the Spanish national team for the future that didn't come from Barca, like the likes of Nico Williams, okay, brother of Iñaki Williams, and Yeremy Pino too from Villarreal, okay. I think those 2 players are very interesting, and I want to give a special credit to Dani Olmo, because Dani Olmo is balling out for Leipzig, and he will be in the Euro squad and can have a hand too. Even Asensio is like kind of underrated, because everyone expected Asensio to be top 5 player in the world, but Asensio isn't having a bad career, okay.
Yeah, and we have to remember that this squad, Spain is just starting to cook. I wouldn't say, well, yeah, no, it's embarrassing. 7-1 win over Georgia, and Georgia is seen as a squad that probably shouldn't be losing 7-1 to anyone right now, especially with Kvaradona in the 11 for them. And unfortunately, the luck, or whatever you want to say, the sheen has worn off, the shine has worn off of Kvaratskhelia, because unfortunately for club and country, I think he is getting exposed right now. I'm not going to say it's fraudulent. I'm not going to say it's anything like that. But Spain to beat them 7-1, that is saying something. Is it not?
Georgia Kvaratskhelia, like you mentioned, Kvaratskhelia has 0 goals in his last 22 games right now, and he had 3 assists in the meantime. Kvaratskhelia isn't performing right now, and to see him ahead of Rafael Leão and others, like, I can't say that right now. It's a hard debate right now. But tell us down below what you think about Spain, and if you agree that they're going to be contenders in the Euros. It's a talk, but definitely.
But Alex,
yes.
Oh yeah. But Alex, if we're talking about Group A here, well, you think they're definitely favorites in Germany next year? I would agree with you. Is that what you were about to say?
France,
Spain.
No.
Oh yeah.
Spain
but I don't want to leave. But Alex, I don't want to leave Group A yet without at least mentioning who's actually top of Group A. Because it's not Spain with 2 less games played. But even if they win their next 2 games, they are still behind this team. Who is top of Group A with 5 wins in 5 games, and with Lionel Messi essentially leading Scott McTominay leading the line? Who is top of Group A? It's Scotland, right? 12 goals scored, 1 goal conceded. Scott McTominay is co-joint leader of all Euro qualifying with 6 goals. And currently Scotland stands top. I'd be very surprised if they don't qualify after this humongous start for them. But it's Scotland and Spain. If Spain wins their next 2, they're on 12 points. Scotland's on 15. And we've got Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard in the mud because Norway is not going to a Euros. It's a very realistic possibility here, and it's because Scott McTominay has turned into prime Leo Messi for Scotland when it comes to Euro qualifying. It's really, really impressive stuff. So Spain, yes, blitzing Georgia 7-1. Scotland beating the teams that they need to beat, beating Spain, beating Norway already. That's really impressive stuff, and long may it continue because it's about time that we shake things up a little bit. Scotland, though, at the top of Group A when this came out, was the furthest thing from my mind. But it's really impressive stuff.
It's a new Scottish team with Scott McTominay leading the way. It's so sad that he's still at Man United, playing the way he does. Unwanted, exactly. Yeah. Just like Donny van de Beek and other players, or even Maguire. Scapegoats for the problems at the club right now. But yes, we're mentioning Scotland, that yes, they have 5 wins, but for me, the favorites of the Euros in 2024 will be France, no doubt. Just like Portugal with 0 goals suffered, France have 0 goals suffered. And with Greece, Ireland, tough international teams, they're playing extremely well and dominating as we expected. 5 wins, they have 11 goals and 0 goals suffered. But I want to say, I see so many people, if seeing start bench sells with Haaland, Mbappe, Bellingham, and people saying sell Mbappe, sell the captain of France at 24, sell the all-time leading goal scorer of PSG, sell a player that has won the World Cup and scored in a World Cup final when he was under 19, and sell a player that scored a hat-trick in the final in the last World Cup. That yes, he was overshadowed by Messi, but that was who overshadowed Mbappe at 24. Lionel Messi. So if there's a start bench sell with Haaland, Mbappe, and Bellingham, I'm for sure never selling Mbappe ever. Okay, in this case, I wanted to say that because there's a lot of people like mentioning that and disrespecting Mbappe at such a young age. And the future of France is with the future of Real Madrid. Tchouaméni and Camavinga will be key pieces, and come on. If you go to Real Madrid, Mbappe, you are a Ballon d'Or favorite every year. And especially with this French national team that has a high influence of Real. And, geez, the future of the France, the midfield, I believe, Breton, will be Tchouaméni, will be Camavinga, and will Warren Zaire Emery, that is balling out for the under-21 teams. He is the captain of that team that is coached by Thierry, and that will be the midfield in the near future. Zaire Emery, Camavinga, and Tchouaméni.
And that's the thing, is you look at the senior international lineup, and then you look at the U21 Euro qualifying lineup, and you're like, half of these guys could actually, sub in, right, to these senior European qualifying games,
True.
and it really wouldn't be that much of a drop in quality. But the fact that a 17-year-old under Thierry Henry walks into U21 Euro qualifying and automatically becomes captain, or shows Henry enough to become captain, is just bonkers. And he's done the same with Luis Enrique at PSG. I mean, he had sort of set himself in to a starting lineup, but Warren Zaire-Emery is very clearly, the future, or one of an insanely bright, not surprising future of France from here to come. But come on, that Chouameni goal, dude. That Chouameni goal. There's just a lot to like here. It's whether or not they get in their own way when it comes to Germany next summer. It's that's really it. It's whether or not France beats themselves. We've seen it. We've seen it before. Or Portugal.
We've seen it before in 2016 when Eder scored that goal. Just imagine a reboot of history, but instead of Eder, Cristiano Ronaldo. That would be one of the best memories of my lifetime if that happens, mate.
The increase. I can't believe Eder. I mean, just frozen in time. Nothing else to talk about when it comes to Eder, but that one goal, it just sets him up for free drinks for the rest of his life, easily.
True.
But yeah, no, I agree. And France, though, perennial favorites from here on out until somebody proves otherwise. But another team in Group B that you need to be on the watch for is very clearly, we saw it in the World Cup a little bit. And I know you don't like Koeman at charge, but the Netherlands look very good too. But yes, this is about France. And until France beats themselves, or until another team arises to slay the dragon, France is my favorite next summer in Germany.
And look, we all have to mention in a French video that Griezmann is still playing, and Griezmann is one of the most underrated players in the world, playing under Didier Deschamps. The role he plays, that free role, is absolutely elite. And Mbappe is the captain at 24, with historic players like Griezmann and Olivier Giroud, that is the French all-time leading goal scorer too. But we all know that Mbappe eventually will be surpassing that tally. But let us know what do you think about the French national team, and don't forget to like this video. But yes, we got a big topic, Bretson. You want to talk about the big topic?
I think we need to talk about the big topic. Yeah,
and
I assume we're going to be talking about the Kopa Trophy, because that's what I. No, I'm just
we will.
kidding.
No, but we will definitely talk about the Kopa Trophy. But the Ballon d'Or, the debate right now is clear, and it's on between Haaland and Lionel Messi. Before we get to it, don't forget to like this video for more videos just like this, and comment down below, who do you believe will be winning this Ballon d'Or? And look, I am a Cristiano Ronaldo fan, but me being a Cristiano Ronaldo fan doesn't invalidate me of clearly respecting the greatness of Lionel Messi in this World Cup.
There you go.
Lionel Messi, my winner of the Ballon d'Or. And the people that say that he doesn't deserve, I have a name here. Look, mate, the moment I see a man like Craig Burnley of ESPN saying, close the shop, if Haaland loses the Ballon d'Or to Messi, you close the shop by saying that Messi doesn't deserve to win the Ballon d'Or. That is disgraceful and ungrateful towards the history you saw in November with Argentina and Lionel Messi winning the World Cup. And he wasn't that bad all season 2. PSG, Neymar. Look how Neymar looked in his career at PSG. Don't blame Messi for the bad form of PSG. It ain't happening. And I think PSG will be better now with Mbappe. But Messi was still elite last season. Embarrassing.
I'm with you.
What the hell?
Listen, I have, but I am not going to be in the same camp as Craig Burley here. I am not. But I am the one that has said previously, listen, Lionel Messi has been the best player in the world before and not won the Ballon d'Or. Obviously, if this was not a World Cup season, right, which it was. So we can't necessarily change that fact. But if this was not a World Cup season, Erling Haaland would be winning hands down right now. 52 goals. The treble, all in his first season. At Manchester City, rewriting the record books of one of the most prestigious leagues on the planet. And it all literally with 200 million plus people. I don't know where I got that number from. Watching this guy on a regular basis. Erling Haaland can't do any better, except if somebody put him in the World Cup with Norway, which wasn't ever going to happen because you can't rewrite their terrible qualifying campaign. So it stinks that Erling Haaland does what he does in his first season when Lionel Messi gets that World Cup multiplier, as he should. The World Cup. Anyone out there saying that the World Cup was easy, that it was a cakewalk, that they, that Argentina, that it was written in stone that Argentina was going to win this thing, that's completely false. Exactly. No, they won the World Cup on their own merits, and I get there being a World Cup multiplier. What I'm lamenting is the fact that this 52-goal season under Erling Haaland came at this exact time.
Messi
so yes,
had
I still have
goals, 25 assists in one season, and he scored in every knockout game for Argentina in this World Cup. The dreamlike scenario of winning the World Cup happened. That's it. And I'm not going to say that Haaland is a better footballer than Lionel Messi. And if Haaland was a better footballer, no doubts, he would be scoring in the semifinals and in the finals of the Champions League. Yes, I think he was vital in order to win the Champions League, but 7 Man City players are nominated to win the Ballon d'Or. That was the clear impact of Pep Guardiola, and no John Stones is embarrassing.
And no John Stones.
There should be 8. I completely agree with you, Bretson, with that, okay? But another thing, we have other players that is embarrassing. No Rashford, nominated for the Ballon d'Or with 41 goal involvements. I understand the best Rashford was after the World Cup, but still, he was vital for United to win a trophy and to go to the Champions League. Look how they're playing now, with Rashford playing striker instead of left wing, where we saw him strive last season. And another player that is embarrassing, Alisson, not nominated for the Yashin Trophy, and I see Ramsdale ahead of him. And I love Bryce Samba, okay? He's underrated. I agree, and I like him being called up for France behind Mike Magna. But no way is he ahead of Alisson. No way. So there's embarrassing shouts that happen in this Ballon d'Or. And my last one is Raphael Leão. Raphael Leão isn't a worse footballer than Kolo Muani, than Kvaratskhelia, than Lautaro Martinez. Raphael Leão deserves to be in the Ballon d'Or nominations because AC Milan were in the semifinal of the Champions League. Don't forget that goal, that moment against Napoli. He did the whole left wing. That's Raphael Leão's impact. And special shout out to Arsenal. Arsenal that have Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka, both nominated for the Ballon d'Or. They deserve to be in those nominees and shows the progress and the work that has been done in these last 3 years with Arteta. Progress and expectations to be involved, in the knockout stages of the Champions League and to be in the title race of the Premier League. That's deserved to have those two there in the nominees, Bukayo Saka and Odegaard.
So I'm with you. But it is very clear. UCL, there's a UCL multiplier, unsurprisingly, and there's a World Cup multiplier here, right? Because if you got Yassine Bono in there, but also he won what? Came back. Sevilla was in a relegation scrap, and he winds up winning the Europa League with an automatic bid to the Champions League with Sevilla, and Morocco's run to the semifinals. But very clearly, there are some on here that you could argue until you're blue in the face. But the one that I'm looking at here that we're probably never going to see again, and it's weird for me to say this, but Luka Modric. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's probably the last year we're ever going to see him on a Ballon d'Or shortlist. So it's nice to see that. I think he's going to.
20 years that we don't see Cristiano Ronaldo, Breton.
That's sad. True. But that's not a snub, right? You wouldn't characterize that as a snub.
Not right now, no. But it's sad.
Okay. I know. Oh, it doesn't make it any less sad. No, I'm with you there. But it will be the last time, and you're probably not going to see Ronaldo. I mean, it's going to have to be Euro. It's going to have to be Euro. If Luka Modric can actually get Croatia over the hump, I guess he should be on the Ballon d'Or shortlist again next season, regardless of whether or not he plays spot minutes for Real Madrid moving forward. And it's the same with Ronaldo. Ronaldo at Al Nassr is not really going to necessarily factor into much. But yes, if, like you said, he scores the Eder goal in extra time or in injury time, no, it was extra time. If he does that, then hey, he'll be back there. He'll be back there. But no, listen, I think for the most part, my Messi Haaland thing, okay? My biggest issue is if the Ballon d'Or was fair, right? Then Messi and Ronaldo would win like 90% of these things over the last
they did
however many years, right? they still did, but I'm just saying they would have won more, frankly. And we all know what years we're talking about, but we don't need to relitigate the past. But what I'm saying is this year would be a good year for another one of those to happen. Does not change the fact that Leo Messi was ridiculous at the World Cup. It does not change the fact that he probably does deserve his 8th Ballon d'Or. But I don't know if we're going to see Erling Haaland hit for 52 again, even though he's off the mark again. He's ready to go off to the races. It pains me because I don't think Norway's not qualifying for the Euros.
Again,
that's my thought process
and
here.
I think Haaland will grow himself to becoming a no doubt Ballon d'Or winner. But to say right now, Craig Burnley, how can this man say that Messi is undeserved to win a Ballon d'Or? It's completely lunatic right now to say that. I cannot help to say this. And even seeing what he's doing, I'm not saying Lionel Messi doesn't deserve the Ballon d'Or for what he's doing in the US. He deserves it for what he did in the World Cup. That's what the Ballon d'Or counts right now. The last season. It's not this one. So people that say Haaland scored 2 more goals this weekend, he deserves more. Are you mad? It's last season's count. So whoever says that they deserve more or less because of what they're doing just now, that is not the case. But tell us down below,
listen,
do you believe that Messi will be getting the 8th Ballon d'Or? Tell us, Breton, this is the big talk.
He will be. I've already said my piece about the Haaland thing, but I think he will be getting his 8th Ballon d'Or for sure. But for me, this wouldn't even be a question for anyone, even Craig Burley, if the World Cup happened when the World Cup normally happens. Right?
Nice one. It's true. If the World Cup was in the summer, Craig Burnley wouldn't be saying what he said, that he closed the shop if Messi wins the Ballon d'Or. Lunatic. So completely agree, mate. Completely agree with that. But let us know in the comment section if you agree with me and Breton and like this video for more Messi Ballon d'Or content just like this. But yes, Kopa Trophy. This list is beautiful to read. And I even see that Taylor Swift has an effect on who's going to win the Kopa Trophy, okay? But for the people at home, the Kopa Trophy in 2018 was won by Kylian Mbappe. In 2019, De Ligt. In 2020, Pedri. 2021, Gavi. I said it right. And in 2023, let's wait and see who's going to win it. No, I said 2020, but there was no Kopa Trophy. 2021,
exactly.
Pedri, and
2021, 2022.
Gavi. So
you got it.
That's
so
the list.
Barca three-peat? Is that what you're looking for here? Barcelona three-peat?
I think that's not going to happen. But I think,
I don't think it
that
will.
before this move of Jude Bellingham to Real, Balde winning it was a real thing. And to see the possibility of a three-peat in the Kopa Trophy for Barca just shows the talent that they have. Gavi has won it, Pedri has won it, and Balde will be the runners-up, in my point of view, with Jude Bellingham winning it. And next year, Breton, Lamine Yamal winning the Kopa Trophy. He's right now favorite. He's right now favorite.
He could be. Xavi Simons, though, man. I don't know what more you got to do. Obviously, Jude Bellingham had the better season. He got all the plaudits for it, but Xavi Simons, nobody had that kid going to the Eredivisie, playing for a very solid team like PSV Eindhoven, and being co-Golden Boot leader at the end of the season. And a quick reminder here that Xavi Simons was, in fact, spent a little under a decade at La Masia. Right. He is, in fact, considered a Barcelona-developed talent that is now already making the Bundesliga relatively light work with RB Leipzig. So just had to shout him out simply because, I think it is going to be Jude Bellingham and first. And you think Balde in second, or you think
I'm gonna
Gabi
put
and Pedri?
Musiala.
One of
I'm
those
gonna
two.
put Musiala in second. Sorry, I said runners up
Really
Balde,
though?
but I'm gonna put. I think he should be. I'm not gonna say he's gonna happen,
Yeah.
but Balde's
Okay.
ascension will take a lot of people's attention on Jamal Musiala for runners up behind Jude Bellingham. Jamal Musiala last season had 47 games, 16 goals, 16 assists, and he
Yeah.
scored the goal that led to Bayern Munich winning the Bundesliga. And Jamal Musiala was the best player for Germany in the World Cup. It should be one in the top 3 of the Kopa Trophy, minimal in my eyes,
Yeah.
for the importance he has already for his national team. So yeah, I think he deserves it.
Okay. Yeah. No. I'm looking here. Antonio Silva. It's going to take a move for him to win a Copa Trophy, and he'll probably be aged out by the time
I think so.
we're giving out a Copa Trophy to Antonio Silva. But hey, Jamal Musiala finishing second after he was snubbed last year. I'd say that's a pretty good development for him, but just completely unfortunate once again. Musiala is still out, right? Still out injured, coming back from a torn muscle fiber, I think. But you just want to see him back, and I'm sure he'll get back to his best. But yeah, rehashing the stats that he put out last year, I actually needed that update because in recency effect, right? Jamal Musiala has been
I get you.
kind of non-existent
I get you.
as of
I
late.
get you. And Wirtz was,
So that was needed.
and Wirtz was very
Yeah.
important for Germany, even though they lost to Japan. He was one of the best players in that field. But you mentioned Antonio Silva,
Yeah.
and I want to say Antonio Silva
Mhm.
is seeing Antonio Silva in this Copa Trophy list makes me so happy because he deserves to be in that list. Benfica beat PSG, Juve in the Champions League because Antonio Silva was there next to Otamendi. He had a key
Yep.
role, and he's the only center back in this list, next to the likes of Balde that are elite, and Camavinga if we consider him fullback too. So those are the defenders of the Copa Trophy that Antonio Silva deserves to be amongst them. Antonio Silva that
Yeah,
didn't
and-
win the best youngster in our league. It was Ivan Jaime that went now to Porto. That's an interesting youngster for the people at home to remember. But Antonio
Yeah.
Silva deserves that award in my eyes. Okay, he was the most important player
And
for Benfica.
yeah, and I guess with the Copa Trophy, it just kind of you see it in stark contrast to everything else here, right? You
Mhm.
see a lot of La Liga, you see Bundesliga, you see Benfica, right? So you see the Primera Liga, you see the Eredivisie, and I get it. There's one league on, okay? The only Premier League, technically, right now is Rasmus Winter Holland, but he obviously did not get there on the merits with what he did with Manchester United yet. He got there for his
Denmark,
role with Sturm Graz and with Atalanta. So it's just really interesting
Denmark.
to me. Oh, and Denmark. You're right. 5 in his first 5 caps, or 5 in his first whatever.
Mhm.
But I would love to see. This is just a short-winded way of saying I would love to see more Premier League ballers get their chance here. I really would. Jacob Ramsey, I guess, could have been up here at some point. I mean, some people could even call for a guy like Rico Lewis, who played a big part, or a small,
Levi
but
Colville,
still big
maybe.
part.
I'd say Levi Colville.
Levi
maybe.
Colville, sure.
Or Evan
But like, come on,
Ferguson
there
next
should be
season.
more here.
Evan Ferguson. next
Exactly,
season
there should be, and you're right. He could be. But it is just something that you see here, and it's something that you want to see change. And I know it's hard to change when everything is about the products, everything is about what is being sold, and there's a reason why they're the highest revenue league on the planet by far. But it just comes down to the fact that I, being as biased as I am, as co-host of FC Wonder Kid podcast, would love to see more Premier League names and talents on this Copa Trophy list. And also, I got to say this, and I got to scream it from the mountaintops. Why is there not a Copa Trophy for the women? Because Linda Caicedo deserves an award for herself, frankly. And that could have been an incredibly easy follow-up to what was an insanely successful Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. And I feel like they dropped the ball on that one. Linda Caicedo deserves a Kopa Trophy. And I think you and I should make one and send it to her. What do you think?
Great player at Real Madrid that balled out for Colombia. I love that shout, Bretson. But I don't agree with you. To see more Premier League players right here, I'm more than fine with with one player there.
I know.
Me being honest, I'm surprised if there's no maybe more Ligue 1 because there's a lot of talents that go from Ligue 1 to the Premier League. But let us know, what are you thinking on the Copa Trophy? Who will win it in your eyes? Is it Jude Bellingham? Is it Balde? Or is it a bold take with like Antonio Silva or Xavi Simons? Let us know and like this video for more videos just like this. But we're FC Wonder Kid, and we have Wonder Kids that we want to shout here at the end of this podcast. And we got one, Amara Diouf. What?
Yes.
How does someone born in 2008 play for his national team at 15 years and 94 days old? That is elite. Yeah. Shout out to Senegal to make that happen.
Oh, seriously. And he's the youngest to play. Amara Diouf is the youngest to play for Senegal by over 2 years. By over 2 years. It's not even close, right? And that's 15 to 17 we're talking about here. But he's also the youngest player to make his international debut for a country ranked in the top 50. And he's the youngest to do so since Martin Odegaard. Now, we do understand the topsy-turvy road that Martin Odegaard took to get to where he is now at a nice home at Emirates Stadium with Arsenal. So hopefully Amara Diouf has a much more linear path to stardom. But let's be honest, like Chelsea's already after him, Real Madrid, Barca, you name it, they're looking at Amara Diouf, and he is just another one in a long line of great Generation Foot players that include, if I'm not mistaken, most recently Pape Matar Sarr, who's coming into his own for Tottenham. I believe Ismaila Sarr, who's doing well for Marseille after a weird time with Watford, and then Sadio Mane. Okay, so this is a really, really interesting development, and it's just crazy that this 15-year-old made his way into an AFCON qualifying game the same weekend that Lamine Yamal comes in for Spain, who would also be eligible for Morocco, right? So it's crazy to see. AFCON deserves more praise for giving these chances to these players, but Amara Diouf is one that everybody, not surprisingly, is just insanely high on. So I only hope they leave him alone until he gets to like 18, so this kid can just ball out, please.
Fuck, like what a talent!
But we'll see.
I'm shook. I was shook. I was shook when I saw that one. But yes, anything else, Brett, that you really want to talk
it's crazy.
about?
No, I mean, I think that was really the only one. A quick shout out to Antonio Nusa. Just, at Norway, another piece of that puzzle. I think it just stinks that they're in the group that they're in right now, and Scotland's going absolutely insane. But Antonio Nusa, on his debut, had a goal and an assist against Jordan. And at 18 years old, he's already been balling for Club Brugge, so he's another one that people are going to be chasing after. And another piece of the puzzle that might one day get Odegaard and Holland to a World Cup. But the only other shout I just wanted to say, because we didn't even mention it, amidst the Leo Messi talk for the Ballon d'Or, come on, that goal, right? That goal against Ecuador for their World Cup qualifying kind of opener there, really, really nice. But that was not actually the story on the day, Alex. Apparently, Inter Miami, in his absence, can win a game. And they have won without him. And that's because they've got Busquets. It's because they still have Jordi Alba. And because they have Leo Campagna scoring goals.
England national team, Portugal, France, Spain, Ballon d'Or talk. We spoke about so much, but don't forget to like this video for episode 123, the Monday show that will be out next week. And don't forget to comment your thoughts about every topic that we discuss this podcast. Thank you for going bold another week with FC Wonder Kid.